Hello again, it's Neil Duggan speaking, and we're looking at the egoic levels now of the minds within our system. So when we think about the term the ego, what we're really talking about is the imaginary idea we have of ourselves, and it's an intellectual function. So this is an imaginary idea, a whole set of beliefs and all this processing that we do around what we think of ourselves, and it's all intellectual. Similarly, we actually have an egoic level in the emotional center, and it's commonly called the pain body. So people talk about the pain body and the fact that we've got all these sort of crushing emotions and issues that are going on, which are giving us all kinds of trouble in the emotional center. So that's the pain body. Down in the instinctive center, which is associated with the gut brain, we have what I call the disease authority. So there's no disease that I'm aware of that doesn't actually stem from this imaginary construct, which is actually operating in the instinctive center. So if we're able to work with all of the things which are leading to the instinctive center not fulfilling its normal natural function, then we can eliminate the pressures that actually lead to disease. So this is a very, very useful way of working, obviously. In terms of the pelvic brain and the sex center, we're looking at the separator. So the processes, the natural processes of the sex center are completely interfered with by the processes that lead to things like competition, that lead to separation, that lead to cruelty and any number of behavior sets which are associated with this egoic level of the sex center. In the moving center, we're looking at all of the issues around control. So I call it the controller. So the egoic level of the moving center, which is associated with the spinal brain, is the controller. And the urge to control things, to end up being superior and all that type of thing, hierarchy, all of that stuff is in this egoic or shadowy level of the moving center. So these are the five egoic levels, or the five egoic minds, if you like. Sorry, not levels. So, and the ego level sits alongside the natural level of the conscious mind. So it's a component of the conscious mind. We can see it as being a kind of duality in its own right. We could think of it along in terms of a duality, and with all these dualities, it's necessary to actually work with them so that there becomes an opportunity for harmony to actually come out of them. In the case of these egoic things, what we're really looking for them to do is for them to become more and more accurate. So it's not such an issue to actually have an imaginary idea of ourselves if it's reasonably accurate. So if we've got a relatively accurate picture of ourselves, then that's not such a big problem. When we have a wildly disparate view of ourselves from reality, it's big problems, really big problems. So the first work is to actually make these egoic levels as accurate as possible, and then eventually we want the egoic level to completely subside in favour of the natural functioning of this conscious mind level. That's really all I wanted to speak about the egoic levels. In terms of the the therapy work. The therapy work is strongly related to dusting off all of these ideas that we have of ourselves, no matter which mind that they're occurring in, and reasserting much more natural function. So it's a pivotal aspect of it. These egoic levels for each of the minds have their own frequencies, and in therapy we do stimulate the actual relaxation of these things so that we can actually help and assist the client into a place where they're able to reprogram the ego to something which is going to be more accurate. And with the eventual aim, of course, that the ego will be completely subsiding in the face of the natural. Look, that's all I've really got to say about it at the moment. Look out for the other videos. This is one of more than 30 videos around the support for the conversations. So the conversations, so far, the conversation books, the one that we've written is the book on candida, the hive mind in particular. and but we've got a conversations book on viruses coming up very shortly, which will be very exciting, and following on from that we'll have a conversations with bacteria. Obviously all of these these focuses, we're talking about how our instinctive mind might more accurately actually be involved in interacting with these microbial populations. So fundamentally this egoic level is very, very important to it. So like and share, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you. Bye.